So 8.1a, we're going to be talking about simplifying radicals. Okay, so radicals is going to be another term you're going to hear me use for whenever I'm talking about something with a square root. Okay, so for these two problems right here, okay, so I'm given these two numbers and their square root, so the square root of 80 and the square root of 30. And I'm asked to simplify these expressions. Okay, so what that means is first I need to figure out what its factors are. Okay, so try to break this thing down into its factors. And as you're looking at for its factors, you need to look also for numbers that are perfect squares, okay? So remember, a perfect square is going to happen when you take one number and multiply it by itself, okay? So for example, if I take the number 3 and I multiply 3 by itself, so 3 times 3, I'll get 9. So because of that, 9 is going to be a perfect square. So if I take my factors and I list them for 80, I'm going to find that one set is going to be 16 times 5, okay? And 16 is going to be a perfect square, okay? It's going to be the perfect square of 4. So if I have 16 inside the square root, I can take it out of the square root, but then I'm going to put the thing that it's the perfect square of, okay? So since 16 is the perfect square of 4, I'm going to take 16 out and put 4 in front. And then for 5, since 5 is not a perfect square, it's going to remain in there. So when I have the square root of 80, I can simplify it down to 4 times the square root of 5. So now let's look at number 2. So for number 2, on the square root of 30, I look at my factors and I've got 1 times 30, 2 times 15, and 5 times 6. Well, of all of these numbers that I just listed, none of them are perfect squares. Okay, I mean, 1 is a perfect square, but that's not really going to help us at all. So, because I have none of these numbers that are a perfect square, I can just keep this thing as just a square root of 30.